YG, do you know the meter for this?
Hare Krishna Mataji. No.
Mataji, we can try this as a Karpanya dosha because it's a 4 line. Hare Krishna.
Ato anyatha kinchana yat vivakshatah
किंचित कवापि दुषिता माते लभते बताः नौर्वासपदम्.
YG,
Yes, Mataji.
do you know the meter for this verse?
No, Mataji. I don't know. I try.
Hema, try Karpanya dosha.
Okay.
Hemangini.
Tatonyata. Sorry, Hemangini Mataji, you'll try?
No, Mataji, you try.
Okay.
Anyatha kinchana yat vivakshatah
Vakshataha pritadrishastatatkritrupanamadhihi nakarhi chitvapi cha dustita matihi larbeta vata hatannau rivaspadam.
Quite a tongue twister. So, anyatha kinchana yat vivakshatah. Repeat.
Tatonyata kinchana yadvakshataha
Prithak drishastat kritarupanamabhi
pritadrishastakritarupanamadhihi
nakarhi chitvapi cha dushtita matir
nakarhi chitvakvapi cha dusthitamati
labhet vatahat naurivapsad padam.
vatahatanau
Translation.
Okay.
Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different form, name, and result. No agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place.
Wow, what a verse. Whatever you desire to describe, which is not connected with Krishna. You may use different forms or names or results. It will simply agitate the mind just as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place, means no anchor. और कितनी precarious, risky position है ऐसी बोट की जिसका ना sail है, ना anchor है, ना किनारा है. Completely at the mercy of the wind. So, Srila Vyasadeva is the editor of all descriptions of the Vedic literatures, and thus he has described transcendental realization in different ways, namely by fruitive activities, speculative knowledge, mystic power, and devotional service. So, transcendental realization can be had through fruitive activities, which is Karma Kand, speculative knowledge, which is Mayavad, mystic power, which is yoga, and finally, devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. Besides that, in his various Puranas, he has recommended the worship of so many demigods, Devi Devtas, in different forms and names, The result is that people in general are puzzled how to fix their minds in the service of the Lord. They are always disturbed about finding the real path of self-realization. Srila Narad Dev is stressing this particular defect in the Vedic literatures compiled by Vyasadeva. And thus he's trying to emphasize describing everything in relation with the Supreme Lord and no one else. In fact, there is nothing existent except the Lord. The Lord is manifested in different expansions. He is the root of the complete tree, the stomach of the complete body. Pouring water on the root is the right process to water the tree as much as feeding the stomach supplies energy to all parts of the body. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva should not have compiled any Purans other than the Bhagavad Puran, because a slight deviation from that may create havoc for self-realization. If a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of ideas that are separate from truth, the absolute personality of God. The most defective part of worshipping demigods is that it creates a definite conception of pantheism, ending disastrously in many religious sects, detrimental to the progress of the principles of the Bhagavatam, which alone can give the accurate direction for self-realization in eternal relation with the personality of Godhead by Bhakti Yoga. The example of the boat disturbed by a whirling wind is suitable in this respect. The diverted mind of the pantheist can never reach the perfection of self-realization due to the disturbed condition of the selection of object. Can somebody share what they have understood? Do you remember that just in the last class or the class before that, in the recent last two classes, this example was discussed? That Narad Muni chastised Vyasadeva for compiling the Vedas. And we are reading the Prabhupada's purport on that now. We have actually reached that verse. Hemangini, would you like to share what you have understood from this?
Yes, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, Srila Vyasadeva has written so many Upanishads, so many Purans, but at the end he was not satisfied. That's why Narad Muni came and asked him to glorify Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when he did that, then only he got the satisfaction of his writing the Purans and at the end and at his life and age that we have studied in the previous verses of Bhagavad. But now here the reason was given why that Narad Muni has chastised Srila Vyasadeva for writing the Purans, because Narad Muni was little bit conscious about the thing that Srila Vyasadeva has written in Purans, so many Purans, and he has written in that demigods worshipping of demigods. So here Srila Prabhupada is written in this verse that it may create havoc for self-realization. मतलब कोई शिव को पूजा करेगा, कोई गणेश जी को पूजा करेगा, कोई देवी की पूजा करेगा. And in any other way that in Jnana Yoga, this Jnana Yoga, in any of the yogas, trying any of the yogas, they will try to reach to the Supreme Lord, but they will never achieve it because that is not the way to achieve Supreme Personality of God.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very aptly described. Does anyone want to add anything to this? What is the meaning of pantheism? Monotheism? What is the meaning of mono? Mono is one. Mono, di, tri, tetra, penta. Pantheism means many theistic ideas. many gods. The idea that बहुत सारे भगवान हैं, कोई एक भगवान नहीं है, या सारी नेचुरल चीजें ही भगवान हैं. So if you remove एकम शास्त्रम देवकी पुत्र गीतम, एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव, अगर केवल यही ग्रंथ होता और यही शास्त्र होता पूरी दुनिया में जो कि था सतयुग में, तो कैसा कैसा कलयुग होता. जस्ट इमेजिन. नो कंफ्यूजन, नो कैटअप रिलीजन, no varieties of gurus or babas. Everybody's, all the rivers are flowing towards the one ocean only. So जब पुराण बनाए व्यासदेव ने, तो केवल एक भागवत पुराण बना देते. इतने सारे पुराण क्यों बनाए? उससे क्या हो गया? एज इट इज मंद बुद्धि है. कलयुग के लोग इंटेलिजेंट तो है नहीं. एज इट इज दे आर फूल्स, मूढ़ास. ऊपर से दे आर प्रोन टू क्वारल. ऊपर से दे आर मंद भाग्य. उनका what is bhagya? They do not have an auspicious life because they are surrounded by so many karmic reactions. So ऐसे में इस तरह के जीव को जो ऑलरेडी इतनी precarious situation में है, उसको आप अगर multiple options दे दोगे, is that going to help him? No, he just needs one life jacket. बस ये एक पकड़ो, पहनो, या ये एक रस्सी पकड़ो और ऊपर आ जाओ. Live in the big ship. So Narad Muni is actually chastising his disciple Vyasadeva here. That what did you do? You've confused people by pantheism, by giving them the idea and the options. All things natural is God. No, they are parts of God. They are the energies of the Lord. But God is one. So the most defective part of worshipping demigods is that it creates this conception of pantheism. सब कुछ चलता है, सारे रास्ते automatically एक ही जगह पहुंचते हैं. And therefore it ends disastrously in many religious sects, which is detrimental to the principles of Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam is on the principle of Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam Eko Devo, एक ही देव है, देवकी पुत्र एवं. एको मंत्रस, मंत्र भी एक ही है. कौन सा? तस्य नामानि यानी, जो देवकी पुत्र की ग्लोरिफिकेशन में हो रहा हो. कर्मापि एकम, कर्म भी एक ही है. तस्य देवस्य सेवा, उस देव की पुत्र की सेवा. यही एक पुराण होना चाहिए था. Which alone can give the accurate direction for self-realization. Otherwise, the life is just like a boat disturbed by winds. यहाँ की हवा आई तो इस तरफ चल पड़ी किश्ती, वहां से हवा आई तो उस तरफ चल पड़ी, और ऊपर से हवा आई तो डूब गई. So the diverted mind of a pantheist can never reach perfection of self-realization due to the disturbed condition. They will always be disturbed. Okay. Shall we move to the next one? Does anyone have any questions? Anything you want to share? Any doubts? Any disagreements? Okay. Next. Jugupsitam dharma krite na shashatah krite anushashatah. Anu?
जुगुप्सितं धर्मकृते अनुशासितः
स्वभावरक्तस्य महान् व्यतिक्रमः
स्वभावरक्तस्य महान् व्यतिक्रमः
यद्वाकयतो धर्म इति तरः स्थितो
यद्वाक्यो यद्वाक्तयो यद्वाक्यतो
वाक्यतो
धर्म इति तरः स्थितो
न मन्यते तस्य निवारणं जनः.
न मन्यते तस्य निवारणं जनः.
Translation.
May I read the translation, Mataji? The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable, because they are guided under your instructions. They will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions.
My God, such a wealth of instruction. And to find it in a verse, isn't it such a delight to see that a verse is actually written on this? Narad Muni bol rahe hain. Let's read the translation again. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy. Correct? हम सब भोग योनि में है ना, भोगने के लिए आए हैं यहाँ पे. So हमारा natural tendency ही right from a baby is to enjoy. As a baby, he wants something to suck. Give me something to suck. He has no other desire. Right? So he's saying that already वो इस mentality के साथ ही आए हैं to enjoy. On top of that, Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva that you have encouraged them in the name of religion to go enjoy yourself. So this is quite unreasonable. Why? Because they think that they are following dharma. They are following your instructions. They are following Vedas. They are following Vedanta Sutra, Vyasadeva ka Vedanta Sutra. And they have started enjoying themselves that sab kuch chalta hai. All the different types of religions can be practiced in the way that you like. So they will accept all these activities of Bhog Yoni in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions, rules and regulations, the do's and don'ts. They will not care. कि हमें तो अब धर्म से भी sanction मिल गया. So you have actually made their life more difficult and more confusing. That's such a I'm amazed. I'm really amazed by this. Srila Vyasadev's compilation of different Vedic literatures on the basis of regulated performances of fruitive activities as depicted in the Mahabharata and other literature is condemned by Srila Narad. In other places, it has been mentioned that for the less intelligent and the Shudras and women was the Mahabharata compiled. Highly intellectual people, highly realized people do not like compositions like Mahabharata. They want something higher, more deeper. Mahabharata is a soap opera because it has everything: suspense, comedy, tragedy, hero, villain, heroine in distress, hero comes in, sab kuch hai isme, full masala. This is what attracts the mind of people in Kali Yuga. They want masala for the ears. So yes, through the Mahabharata, at least they understood what are the regulations of living this life. What are the rules and regulations? What are the do's and don'ts? But those who are rasik, who are crazy in love of God, they just want to hear about the glories of the Lord. They are not interested in these soap operas. Are you getting the point? So Mahabharata is for the less intelligent people to give them the principles of religion in a story form. बच्चों को जैसे हमें समझाना पड़ता है. But transcendentalists and realized souls want something higher. Hence, this is not the cream of Vedic literature, not Mahabharata. It is Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is the only intelligent part of the entire Mahabharata series. So human beings, by long material association, life after life, have a natural inclination by practice to endeavor to lord it over material energy. They have no sense of responsibility of human life. How? Because they do not know that they have to indulge in athato brahma jigyasa. Nobody after the age of 5, till 5, they say that the child is still, he's forgiven because he's still not, he does not even get any karmic reactions because he is too underdeveloped to understand what's right or wrong. After the age of 5 only, it is said that his account starts, of his karmic activities. So, realized people or human beings of high caliber start asking this question right from the age of 5. Like Prahlad Maharaj was just 5 years old. They start inquiring about who's God. Who am I? Why have I come here? What is my relationship with God? These are the questions that are meant to be asked by human beings. But because human beings are in this material world of so many lifetimes and yonis, that they have a natural inclination just to enjoy this world without inquiring about the responsibility that they have. Nobody wants to know हमारी responsibility क्या है. तो मैंने जन्म ले लिया, मुझे करना क्या है? Nobody asks that. They are very happy to enjoy whatever facilities have been given to them. This human form of life is a chance to get out of the clutches of illusory matter. And the Vedas are meant for going back to Godhead. Where did it go? Going back home. To revolve in the cycle of transmigration in a series of lives numbering 84 lakh, in an imprisoned life for the condemned conditioned souls. The human form of life is a chance to get out of this imprisoned life, and as such, the only occupation of the human life is to re-establish his lost relationship with God. So Prabhupada is saying that from the moment you are born, your only duty is to start developing a relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no need, absolutely no need to do anything else for a living. Everything else will be supplied by him if you start developing your relationship with him. Under the circumstances, one should never be encouraged in making a plan for sense enjoyment in the name of religious functions. Let's have a grand yajna so that my business succeeds. Or let's have a grand abhishek or puja or Brahma Bhoj or feeding of Brahmins so that we are blessed with a son. These things are called sense enjoyment in the name of religion functions. A grand yajna so that we win the elections. Such diversion of the human energy results in a misguided civilization. This is misuse of religion. Doing havan and yajna for reasons other than pleasing the Supreme Lord. Srila Vyasadeva is the authority in Vedic explanations in the Mahabharata. And his encouragement and sense enjoyment in some form or the other is a great barrier for spiritual advancement because the people will not agree to renounce material activities which hold them in material bondage. Supposing aapko ek list de di jaye that here are the list of yajnas to do. If there is disease in the family, do this yagya, chant this mantra, the disease will go away. If somebody is on deathbed, you want to save their life, chant this mantra, do this yagya, it will go away. If you have loss in business, or some family member is troubling you, then you perform this yagya, it will go away. If you have this kind of a list, and on the other hand, another list is given to you. Do not expect success or failure. Do not indulge too much in merrymaking. Control yourself. Don't use too much wealth. If you have too much wealth, give it away. Try to live without wife and children. Renounce your life. But if you must marry, then it should be very strict and regulated. ये दोनों list अगर सामने रख दोगे, कौन सी list लोग choose करेंगे? Naturally, the do's and don'ts वाली list will take a back seat, no? This is what he is telling him. Narad Muni is telling Vyasdev कि ये दोनों साथ में क्यों दे दी? एक ही देनी थी. Naturally, तुमने दूसरी भी दे दी जिसमें सब sense enjoyment के हैं. ये enjoy करना है, ये कर लो. ये enjoy करना है, ये कर लो. तो naturally, जो enjoyment की तरफ उनका ज्यादा झुकाव रहेगा ना. और दूसरी लिस्ट कह रही है इसको एंजॉय ही मत करो, ये दुनिया एंजॉयमेंट के लिए नहीं है, इसको रिनाउंस करो. कौन जाएगा उसके पास जब इजी सोल्यूशन दे दिया एंजॉयमेंट का? यू गेटिंग द पॉइंट? दिस इज व्हाट Prabhupada is trying to explain so nicely in a simple way. So people will not agree to practice austerity. At a certain stage of human civilization, when such material activities in the name of religion, kaisi, like sacrificing animals in the name of yagya, were too much rampant. ये बढ़ गया. इस वेदों के ऊपर जब लोग कर्म कांड के ऊपर ज्यादा चल गए, तो there are some parts of the Vedas that explain that, you know, if a horse is sacrificed, you will become the undisputed king of the world. Or if a bull is satisfied, nobody can defeat you in war. इस तरह के जब यज्ञ बहुत ज्यादा शुरू हो गए, बहुत ज्यादा एनिमल्स मरने लग गए. जबकि the original intent of the Vedas was that if you sacrifice an animal, later on that animal immediately would get a human life. So you were actually liberating that animal from the cycle of 84 लाख की योनियों से आप उसको मुक्त कर रहे थे. कि sacrifice के बाद this horse will not have to continue in the 84 लाख की योनि. Immediately he'll get a human body, and that too a pious human body, so that he can continue his journey of devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. This used to be the intent. लेकिन ये इतना misuse हो गया कि इतना indiscriminately animals की sacrifice शुरू हो गई कि बुद्ध को आना पड़ा. The Lord had to then immediately course correction के लिए he had to come as an incarnation as Buddha to completely reject the Vedas. कि वेद ही छोड़ दो follow करने. There was no other way to stop this animal sacrifice. So he came to completely reject Vedas. This was already foreseen by Narad, and therefore he condemned such literatures. The flesh eaters still continue to perform animal sacrifice before some Kali, Kamakhya. Many years back, I went to this Devi ka mandir. It's somewhere in Calcutta, in Guwahati side, by the Lady of Kamakhya, where there were, I don't know, hundreds and thousands of pigeons उड़ रहे हैं चारों तरफ, और वहां पे pigeon का sacrifice होता है. So there's blood strewn everywhere, and it was a very gory scene. This is what Narad Muni is saying, that the flesh eaters still continue to perform animal sacrifices before some demigod in the name of religion. And they feel that it is sanctioned by the religion, so इनको कोई इसका karmic reaction नहीं मिलेगा, and therefore they continue to enjoy flesh eating. And they think that it's a regulated sacrifice and it is recommended. They are so recommended to discourage flesh eating, but gradually the purpose of such religious activities is forgotten. And the slaughterhouse becomes prominent. This is because foolish materialistic men do not care to listen to others who are actually in a position to explain the Vedic rites. So, even in the Vedas, if animal sacrifice was recommended, उसमें बहुत सारे restrictions थे कि the horse should be black in color only, there should not be a single white dot on it. बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता था और abundance नहीं थी इस तरह की, and then you can sacrifice that horse and then you can eat it. So this was more to restrict flesh eating, not to indiscriminately go and eat all the horses that you can find. Are you getting the point? Even Prophet Muhammad did the same thing. Flesh eating was so rampant that he introduced so many restrictions. Find only an old animal, an animal that does not have children, is not a mother or lactating mother, and the moon or whatever the planetary system should be in such and such position only. So he itni sari conditions dal di thi that you had to restrict your eating of animals. You couldn't just eat it every day and any time of the day. So he made it more difficult. He tried to regulate meat eating. That was the purpose. All these prophets and messengers of God and messiahs were actually extremely intelligent people. And they were trying to give the principles of religion in a camouflaged form according to the time, place, and circumstance, the social condition of the society at that time, so that people are able to understand. It was misunderstood to be that he gave sanction that to go and eat just meat indiscriminately. That was not the purpose either of Prophet Muhammad or of the Vedas. They were trying to make it, they were trying to restrict it. Vinitama, you want to say something? Acha, aapka wo, okay. In the Vedas, it is distinctly said that the perfection of life is never to be attained either by voluminous work or by accumulation of wealth or even by increasing the population. Can you believe this? Where is so in the Vedas, it is distinctly said that the perfection of life is never to be attained either by voluminous work or by accumulation of wealth or even by increasing the population. But it is so attained only by renunciation. So, अगर इस सेंटेंस को सिंप्लीफाई करके समझें तो यहाँ ये बताया जा रहा है that perfection of life is neither by working very hard all your life or by being very successful in your work. Accumulation of wealth is nothing but success. Doing your work so well that you become successful, or even by increasing the population, even by having a large family. Because all the three are tying you tightly to this world. But the perfection of life is to free yourself from this world, not to be entangled. So we don't want to work too much here. We don't want to accumulate too many things to increase our attachment here. And we do not want to extend our family life so much that we are not able to withdraw from it when the time comes. We should always be living here like a traveler, with our bags packed, that on an hour's notice, I can just pack my bag and leave. इस mentality के साथ रहना चाहिए. The materialistic men do not care to listen to such injunctions. According to them, the so-called renounced order of life is meant for those who are unable to earn their livelihood. Just imagine, look at their attitude कि ये काम वो करते हैं जो बेवकूफ हैं, जिन्हें काम पैसा कमाना नहीं आता, जो बुद्धू है. Look at the understanding they got from this. Because you can't work, you can't be successful, इसलिए आपने कमंडलू उठा लिया और सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के जंगलों में चले गए, क्योंकि आपको आता ही नहीं है कुछ करना. Just see their mentality. You are unable to earn your livelihood because of some defect, or for persons who have failed to achieve prosperity in family life. तो बीवी से दुखी होंगे, बच्चों से दुखी होंगे, घर पे कोई पूछता नहीं होगा, इसीलिए वानप्रस्थ ले लिया जी, संन्यास ले लिया. This is what materialistic men say and do. In histories, like so many people, have you heard people, I'm sure all of you must have heard के माला क्यों जपते हो? It is so easy just to sit in one place and माला जपना. फिर हम जो काम कर रहे हैं वो मुश्किल है. मैं भी सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के ना आपकी तरह माला करने लग जाऊंगा या लग जाऊंगी. You know, it's the easiest work. And then when you tell them, okay, can you just sit next to me and chant one round? That one round is like a pahad for them. मन इतना व्याकुल होता है कि उसको एक माला 10 मिनट के लिए भी बांध नहीं पाते, एक माला तक नहीं कर पाते. So उनको लगता है कि बैठकर एक कोने में माला करना is easy. They don't know that trying to tie your mind and control your mind is the most difficult job in the universe. Arjun himself is telling Krishna, I can't do it. I can tie the wind with my arrows, but I can't tie my mind. It is so flickering. But the materialistic men feel कि ये आसान काम है, इसलिए ये लोग बैठ जाते हैं ये करने के लिए. In histories like the Mahabharata, of course, there are topics on transcendental subjects along with material topics. Gita is there in the Mahabharata. So एक भगवद गीता उसके अंदर insert कर दी गई to give them a jolt कि अगर वो सारी चीजें पढ़ रहे हैं तो ये भी पढ़ लें. The whole idea of the Mahabharata culminates in the ultimate instructions of the Bhagavad Gita that one should sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja. They should relinquish all other engagements and should engage oneself solely and fully in surrendering unto the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. But men with materialistic tendencies are more attracted to politics, economics, philanthropic activities. मतलब दान पुण्य में बहुत विश्वास रखते हैं. यहाँ पे धागा बांध दो, वहां पे दान कर दो, यहाँ पे प्याऊ लगा दो, यहाँ पे व्हील चेयर डोनेट कर दो, यहाँ पे कुआं खुदवा दो, यहाँ स्कूल खुदवा दो, स्कूल बनवा दो, यहाँ पे अस्पताल बनवा दो. Philanthropic activities. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that a man attached to fruitive work should not be discouraged from his occupation. Sorry, I went somewhere else. One should relinquish all other engagements and should engage oneself solely and fully in surrendering unto Krishna. But men with materialistic tendencies are more attracted to politics, economics, and philanthropic activities mentioned in the Mahabharata than to Bhagavad Gita. This compromising spirit of Vyasadeva is condemned by Narad, who advises him to directly proclaim that the prime necessity of human life is to realize one's Jivera Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. Boldly declare, he tells him, in your next composition. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. There is no other way. Boldly declare this after writing all this confusing literature. And proclaim means boldly declare that the prime necessity of human life is to realize one's relation with God Not only that, surrender unto him without delay. Without delay means there should be urgency. Jaldi karo. अभी अभी जिस उम्र में भी जिस समय भी आ गए इस नॉलेज के संपर्क में immediately शुरू कर दो. Do not waste time. A patient suffering from a particular type of disease is almost always inclined to accept eatables which are forbidden for him. ये कितनों को ये experience है? The moment you're sick and the doctor says ये नहीं खाना है, even if you have not eaten that in the last 6 months, that day you want to eat that only. जो मना किया गया है. अंदर रखो. Thank you. So, especially Ekadashi. On Ekadashis, we want to eat all those things that we may not normally eat. And Kartik, when we take some vrat, that in this month of Kartik, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to do this. Your mind immediately wants to do that thing only which is forbidden very badly. So, since we know the nature of the mind, it's like this. What does the intelligent physician do? He does not make any compromise with the patient by allowing him to take partially what he should not at all take. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that a man attached to Karmakand should not be discouraged from Karmakand, for gradually he may be elevated to the position of self-realization. This is sometimes applicable for those who are only dry, empiric philosophers without spiritual realization. But those who are in the devotional line need not be always so advised. Anuradha, would you like to share what you've understood from this, the last 2 lines? Others can also, after that, please share. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that a man who is attached to Karmakand, fruitive activities, he should not be discouraged from his occupation. Because gradually, he may be elevated. वो कर्म कांड से धीरे धीरे ज्ञान कांड पे आएगा, है ना? ज्ञान कांड से धीरे धीरे ध्यान कांड पे आएगा, और ध्यान कांड से धीरे धीरे वो भक्ति योगा पे आएगा. कर्म योगा, ध्यान योगा, ज्ञान योगा, एंड देन स्लोली भक्ति योगा. तो अगर वो बहुत ज्यादा अटैच्ड है विद कर्म योगा, उसे करने दो. डू नॉट से बंद करो, सीधा भक्ति योगा पे आ जाओ, है ना? एक्सपर्ट फिजिशियन इज वन हु विल एडवाइज हिम टू कम स्लोली. This is for those people who are, we know that they are too attached or too materialistic to give up their ways immediately. This process is recommended for them to come slowly, step by step. Doesn't matter अगर ये life उसमें निकल जाए, अगले कई जन्मों में धीरे धीरे वो आ जाएंगे. It is recommended for those. So this is applicable only for dry, empiric philosophers without spiritual realization. But those who are in Bhakti Yoga need not always be so advanced. Prabhupada ends this verse with a very big statement. I have made a note of this in my notes of Bhagavatam. So what do we understand from this? In your own language? Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Himangi.
It says that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga. अगर एक person is doing, अगर कोई भक्ति योगा कर रहा है, डिवोशनल लाइन पे है, तो उसको ये सब चीजें करने, एडवाइस करने की भी जरूरत नहीं, because he is already in the right path.
Yes.
But Mataji, I have one question.
Please.
We have understood that Srila Vyasdev is a literary incarnation of Supreme Personality of God.
Yes.
Then when he is writing such literatures, जैसे वो उन्होंने लिखे हैं जितने भी पुराण जितने भी लिखे हैं, तो
Hmm.
there must be some meaning, और उनका कुछ तो होगा ना उसके पीछे लिखने के लिए,
In such
ऐसे ही तो
what-
उन्होंने लिखा नहीं होगा.
Yes, he explains that. हमने इसके पहले के जो वर्सेस किए हैं, इनिशियल वर्स में ही उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया ना कि उनको बहुत दया आ गई जब उन्होंने देखा, बिकॉज वैष्णव आर वेरी कंपैशनेट बाय नेचर. तो जब कलयुग आने वाला था और उन्होंने देखा कि कलयुग में ये भयंकर लक्षण है और ये लाइफ की इतनी सारी भयंकर पीड़ाएं आने वाली है, आउट ऑफ कंपैशन व्हेन ही नोटिस्ड कि पीपल आर आल्सो गोइंग टू बी वेरी मंद बुद्धि, तो इनको ये हाईएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ फिलॉसफी कैसे दी जाए, तो उसको सिंप्लीफाई करने के लिए और मंद बुद्धि लोगों को भी धीरे धीरे एलिवेट करके कृष्ण कॉन्शियस तक लाने के लिए उन्होंने एक अथर्व वेद होता था पहले सिर्फ. There was only one Veda earlier, Atharva Veda. Vyasdev then broke it up into Rig Ved, Sam Ved and Yajur. Sorry, not Atharva Ved, Yajur Ved hota tha. And then he broke it up into Rig Ved and Sam Ved. And Atharva Veda was made कि जो इन तीनों वेदों में कहने के बाद भी कुछ बच गया एक्स्ट्रा मिसलीनियस, वो अथर्व वेद में डाल दिया. आता है ना एक्स्ट्रा नोट्स जो रह गए हैं, दैट इज अथर्व. बट पहले सिर्फ एक ही वेद था, यजुर. व्यासदेव made ऋग एंड सामवेद कि ये लेस इंटेलिजेंट लोगों के लिए लेट मी सिंप्लीफाई इट एंड गिव देम. बट बिकॉज ही न्यू कि इसमें बड़े सारे फिलोसोफर्स आएंगे, इसमें लिखा ना प्रभुपाद ने, ड्राई एम्पायरिक फिलोसोफर्स होंगे जो सिर्फ फिलोसफी झाड़ेंगे, काम नहीं करेंगे, मतलब दे विल नॉट हैव एनी sense control or they will not have any regulation in their life. They can just sit and talk. Big philosophies. Life में उसका आचरण नहीं होगा. ऐसे लोगों को लाने के लिए immediately उनसे भक्ति योग नहीं करा सकते. They will have no taste. They'll be so sinful, so sinful. The other day I was hearing a lecture where Prabhu said that I met one person. I actually met him. He came to me. And I told him कि आप he said कि मेरे से नाम नहीं लिया जाता. मैंने कहा क्यों नहीं लिया जाता? अच्छा बोलो राम. He said नहीं हो रहा, राम नहीं निकल रहा मुंह से. He said अच्छा बोलो हरे. You know, he said he clenched his teeth. हरे नहीं निकल रहा. He could not say हरे राम. हरे कृष्ण तो आउट ऑफ क्वेश्चन है. कृष्ण तो और भी थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है बोलना. He could not. And it is said that if people are very sinful, they cannot, the names of the Lord will not come on their tongue. So he said, अच्छा हमने फिर थोड़ी देर के बाद, but he had a strong desire कि मुझे भी chant करना है. So he said, अच्छा गौरनिताई बोलो. Quickly he said, गौरनिताई. He said, चलो तुम गौरनिताई की माला करो. Because Gauranga and Nityananda came even for the most sinful and people of this world, who have absolutely no qualification, जो बिल्कुल लायक नहीं है भगवान का नाम उनके जबान पे आए, वो उनको भी तारने के लिए आए. और उस आदमी को जैसे ही उन्होंने गौरनिताय कहने के लिए बोला, बोलना शुरू हो. He said, इसी से तुम पहले इसकी माला करते रहो, and then you know after a few months or a few years you will realize that now you are able to chant Hare Krishna. Can you believe it? ये practical example. ऐसे लोगों के लिए व्यासदेव ने इसको बनाया था, empiric philosophers के लिए. But that does not mean that people who are already in bhakti yoga, who already have a strong desire, have to go through this 1, 2, 3, 4 stage. Go directly to bhakti yoga. Don't waste time. This is what Prabhupada is trying to say. This is applicable only for those who are without spiritual realization, but those who are in devotional line need not be advised, always so advised. There's no need कि नहीं वेदों में लिखा है इसलिए मुझे करना ही करना है, ये वाला उपवास करना ही करना है, ये वाला देवी देवता की पूजा करना ही करना है. नहीं, वो जनरल मास ऑफ पीपल के लिए है. यू हैव टू टेक ओनली व्हाट इज एप्लीकेबल टू यू. Does it answer your question, Hemagini?
Yes, yes.
किसी और को कुछ कहना है? Is this point clear? Okay, so Hemangini, sorry, we'll start with Vinti. What is your takeaway from what we did today?
Takeaway is this only, that is all worships except Krishna's worship is of no use. If we really want to get rid of this materialistic life, all other worships will bind us. All other things will bind us, no matter what we do. This is the only takeaway that I have from all this. So we are fortunate to have Bhagavad Gita, we are fortunate to have Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the only literature that we should read.
Yeah, Jai, thank you. We are fortunate to have a bona fide parampara.
Yes.
We are fortunate to have acharyas.
Yes, we are fortunate to have Prabhupada
Wow.
purports, which open a window, because otherwise understanding Bhagavatam is also not easy. There are many things which go overhead if we just read the translation.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it makes understanding better.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Vinti.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vinita Uma. Anuradha.
Hare Krishna. After Vinita Uma Mataji.
fine.
माता जी मैं तो यही सोची थी जब आप बोल रहे थे लास्ट में, जो आपने एक्सप्लेन किया कि मैं भी इसी कैटेगरी में थी, कर्म कांड और इसी सब में फंसे हुए थे जब आप मुझे मिले, और मैं तो आपका और प्रभुपाद का थैंक्स कर रही थी मन ही मन कि थैंक गॉड आप लोग मुझे मिले और प्रभुपाद जी की ये सारी मुझे टीचिंग्स मतलब समझ में आई, तो एटलीस्ट मैं कन्वर्ट हुई, नहीं तो मैं भी अपने और फ्रेंड्स की तरह ना इसी में, आज मंडे आज ट्यूसडे है और इन सब में फंसी रहती। और मैं अभी भी किसी से भी बात करती हूँ तो मुझे सच में बड़ा दुख होता है कि लोग कितने इग्नोरेंस में जी रहे हैं, जो काम हमें कुछ करना ही नहीं है, जिसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, उसमें फंसे हुए हैं हम सब। और हम मैं यहाँ पे किसी से मिलती नहीं, कुछ नहीं, लेकिन फिर भी मैं बिजी रहती हूँ सिर्फ इसमें ही कि मुझे ये स्टडी करना है, मुझे अपनी चैंटिंग करनी है, मुझे सुबह की आरतियां करनी है। मतलब इतना सुकून है ना मन में कि भाई चलो एक राइट बात पे हैं, और लोग ना मतलब किट्टी और लड़ाई झगड़ा सब मतलब बहुत चल रहा है लोगों के बीच में ना। तो मेरा तो मतलब बहुत बड़ा थैंक्स है आपको और प्रभुपाद को, जो उन्होंने मतलब बिल्कुल इतना अच्छा, और सबसे बड़ी बात मेरे हस्बैंड भी इंक्लाइन हो रहे हैं, तो मुझे ये बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि धीरे धीरे वो मेरे साथ रहते हैं और कर रहे हैं, मतलब कोशिश कर रहे हैं, देखो कितना। तो बहुत अच्छा टेक अवे इसका कि मतलब जिसने भी किया लेकिन बहुत अच्छा किया मेरे लिए और सबके लिए। मतलब काफी लोग, बहुत लोग यहाँ सिंगापुर में तो बहुत लोग होते हैं, 200-250 लोग होते हैं सैटरडे के प्रोग्राम में, तो मुझे देख के बहुत अच्छा लगता है। बच्चे, छोटे छोटे बच्चे इतनी अच्छी आरतीज और श्लोक रिसाइट कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, तो बहुत प्रोग्रेस कर रहे हैं। तो आई थिंक कि आगे जाके बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्रेस होने वाला है इस्कॉन का, बहुत अच्छा। थैंक यू आपका, आप हमें मिले।
Yes, तो हमें भी ऐसे ही कोई मिला, मैं भी ऐसी ही थी, completely like that boat without any anchor. यहाँ विंडाई यहाँ चले गए, वहाँ विंडाई वहाँ चले गए, absolutely directionless until we had the mercy of devotees. That is why they say that devotees are more merciful than the Lord. Because they are taking all the risk of going out and meeting people. And so therefore they are called kalpatarus, wish fulfilling trees. So हम सबको एक कल्पतरु मिले. I met my mentors, जो मैंने अपने इंटरव्यू में भी बोला, I gave them full credit. I always give them full credit by taking their name. Whatever is given to me, I pass it on to them because it is theirs. It's theirs.
मुझे आप बोल रहे थे ना अभी, मुझे अच्छे से याद है एक माला स्टार्ट करने में मुझे कितना टाइम लगा था। मतलब आप हर बार बोलते थे अच्छा करूंगी करूंगी, मतलब महीनों निकल गए, 2 महीने निकल गए, 4 महीने निकल गए, पर वो एक माला स्टार्ट नहीं हुई। फिर पता नहीं कैसे मन किया और वो स्टार्ट हुई, तो कैसे हम 16 में पहुंचे, मतलब आपके ही कहने से, मतलब धीरे धीरे। तो मतलब वो फर्स्ट माला जो मतलब इतना इजी था, उस माला करने में क्या है, मतलब आप कर सकते हो, पर लेकिन जो हम कन्विंस ही नहीं होते थे किसी चीज के लिए, इतने क्वेश्चंस, ये क्यों है, वो क्यों है, मतलब। लेकिन अब सब क्लियर हो गया तो लगता है कि क्यों इतने स्टूपिड थे हम लोग ना, इतना टाइम हमने वेस्ट किया अपना।
वेस्ट नहीं किया, you worked on yourself. So
पर अच्छा ठोक बजा के अगर कोई चीज मिली है तो उसकी वैल्यू भी है।
absolutely. Thank you so much. My life has also been like that only. We came late, but there I durust aaye. Yes, Anuradha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I think that my understanding is very small to explain the beautiful topic, which is well explained by others. And taking extract from all that, what I have understood and what is the takeaway from today's class is, I always very fondly remember the first ever few classes which I have attended of Bhakti Viksha with you. And in that, you've started with this. The modules of Bhakti Viksha are so beautifully and intricately designed that they itself instruct us. And I've always actually nurtured my soul with one single syllable from you, which you always often say. Don't root the branches, don't water the branches, water the root. So I think in verse 14, it is more about this thought, which is again reiterated here from Narad to Vyasadeva, that by actually creating other different Vedas, you have given human being or the entire mankind so many things to be confused about, rather than concentrating on one single thing. So now, if you would have actually created Bhagavatam instead of so many Vedas which you have created, I think it would have solved the miseries and all the problems of the entire humankind. And in this verse, which we have just now read, it is very beautifully written that it's like Bhagavad Gita is considered to be a part of Mahabharata. It all came as instructions from Krishna to Arjun as a part of the entire happening of Mahabharata, but it ultimately culminates into only one thing, which is come and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. He himself has declared in Bhagavad Gita in the later chapters like Sarva Dharmana Parityajya Mama Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Swam Sarva Papebhyo Moksheshyami Mashacha. So it is like best quoted verse over here, that we keep on wandering here and there, understanding things that we are doing is the right thing, but the right way, the right path for liberation from all the materialistic entanglements is just the study of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Anybody else would like to share? Vaiji, Archana?
Hare Krishna Mataji. There are two things that actually caught my attention, or mostly three. I'll start with the first one, where, the paragraph which says that, the focus of the Vedas is actually renunciation and not doing, all this material work and accumulating wealth and, just going behind having a big family. Now, the interesting part is, I was actually listening to Amog Leela Prabhu's interview in Hare Krishna long back, and there, it is like the attitude of how people, their attitude towards the spiritualists, towards, even the ISKCON gurus, or it is generally at least towards the spiritualists, and how we are actually, ISKCON is actually breaking that trend, caught my attention. So the thing is, the materialists, what they think is, you get into sannyasa, you go here because you're not educated, because you don't have money. Now you're a living proof of that. An engineer who has given up everything and come here. In fact, the interviewer in Amog Leela's Prabhu, she opened the question by saying, Prabhuji, you're so handsome, and didn't you have so many proposals, and then how come, you gave up, because, and then she said, ISKCON mein, what we normally see is people who are very well educated and very well established, or even Gaur Gopal Das, I heard he's actually very rich, or Jai Pataka Maharaj, who are all very rich, who've given up everything to actually get here. So that trend, where we are breaking and establishing and proving, to all these completely so-called materialistic men, that this path of renunciation is not for losers. It is for people who are way above, can understand that it is the materialistic way of life that actually, is for losers. So that's, one, thought that came to my mind. And the second thing is regarding, this comparison to medicine. It's very interesting how, you can't go and disturb people who are so materialistically involved and not exactly, in the path of bhakti. That is, people who are, empiric scholars, who are, who don't have that spiritual realization. So you can't jatka say, you can't make them come into bhakti. And for me, the connection was with respect to, medicines. If you take some medicines, right, for example, statin, you can't, wean off the medicine right away. They actually give a big dose, and slowly, another, one smaller dose and smaller dose, and then finally wean it off. And then you bring them in the path of bhakti. So that is the path that we need to adopt for some, materialistic people that are around us. And the last point is, people actually in bhakti, it is also, that urgency that you said, you can't just be in that place alone. That you're in this path, then push yourself. I mean, it's for me, it is like a push yourself to somehow, each day improve yourself and go towards, that path of self-realization, because ultimately that's our goal. And maybe increase the round of chanting, increase the number of hours that you're spending. This material life is always going to be there. But if you've adopted this path, so it's a, it's a wake-up call also. Just because you're in this path doesn't mean, you can be stationary. It is like that realization, keeping Krishna in the, midst of everything, and applying all the principles that we learn, even being, in this material life, is, the true renunciation that we have to get. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Right. Very nice. You've actually, spoken very much how I would speak, and how I would, the points that I had in my mind, you have exactly reproduced those.
Mataji, you're training, Mataji. We learn from you only, right? So.
Each one of you have your own personality. So I just think that we think alike. So, but that's the fact of life. We all have that in common. कि हमें ये मिला और हमने इसकी वैल्यू समझी और हमने इसको ग्रैब कर लिया और अपनी अपनी स्पीड से सब चल रहे हैं. बट व्हाट वी हैव इन कॉमन इज दैट वी ऑल, हम जौहरी हैं, हमें परख है असली की और नकली की. Like Prabhupada said कि यहाँ पे असली खरा सोना मिलता है. You don't get imitation jewelry here. So all those who are interested in खरा सोना only, जैसे डायमंड शॉप में only those who are serious about buying diamonds will enter. बाकी लोग तो enter ही नहीं करेंगे. They will go to those artificial jewelry shops opposite that shop, where they get all this gillette and gillet. So that thirst for the real thing should be there, and it should be burning. Then only you will realize the value of this. Otherwise you will say तो नहीं तो और सही, और नहीं तो और सही, कुछ और ले लेंगे, कुछ और follow कर लेंगे. But once you taste the real thing, सब कुछ फीका है. Nothing else tastes as sweet or better than this ever, ever, ever can. So Prabhupada said that once you come into Krishna consciousness, no one ever leaves Krishna consciousness. Unless, he gets into some, unforgivable aparadh, and, the divine itself arrangement is such that now you need to reform yourself before you come back. But otherwise, once you taste this nectar, you really don't want to taste anything else. But even if you are given that, it does not taste sweet at all. It's bitter. Forget sweetness. Everything else is bitter. Yeah. अर्चना को कुछ बोलना है मराठी में या हिंदी में?
हरे कृष्णा माता जी, आज तो मैं सिर्फ लेक्चर सुन रही हूँ क्योंकि मेरी
अच्छा, आप
मदर
थोड़ी देर जाए. हाँ.
हाँ
ओह.
5th मई को मेरी मदर इन लॉ एक्सपायर हो गई, अभी 5th मई को परसों, तो मैं वही घर पे हूँ अभी, इसलिए मैं सिर्फ लेक्चर सुन पा रही हूँ.
क्रिमेशन हो गया अर्चना?
हाँ
क्रिमेशन हो गया?
हाँ, मतलब
संस्कार.
नहीं, हाँ वो तो हो गए, मतलब 5th मई को उसी दिन शाम को. अभी हम लोग 14 मतलब संडे को 10th है उनकी, वो जो हम 10वीं करते हैं ना, वो उसके बाद में 12, 13, 14 वो दिन करेंगे हम, और उसके बाद में गंगा पूजन रहता है जो हम हमारे घर पे करते हैं, जहाँ पे वो चल बसी है वो घर पे. तो एक्चुअली एज हुआ था उनका 75 था, और काफी दिन से वो सब ये दर्द सहन कर रही थी, पेन सहन कर रही थी. और मेरे पापा मतलब मेरे फादर इन लॉ उनका सब देख रहे थे. और फिर हमारे जैसे सामने वाले एक चल बसे, वो भी एजेड थे, तभी वो बोली कि अभी मेरा नंबर कब आएगा, और एक 8-10 दिन के बाद में वो भी चल बसे.
ओह. अच्छा, तो आप पूरा वैदिक रस्म करते हैं? 13 दिन 13वीं भी करते हैं आप?
हाँ 13वीं करते हैं. उसके बाद में गंगा पूजन, मतलब घर को पूरा ये करना है, वो
शुद्ध करना है.
शुद्ध करना है, वो सब करते हैं.
अच्छा, और फिर हरिद्वार भी जाते हैं?
नहीं अभी हरिद्वार तो नहीं, लेकिन हमारे
विसर्जन विसर्जन के लिए?
अस्थि विसर्जन में हम इधर ही गए हैं, हमारे इधर एक बड़ी सी है यहाँ पे नदी, वहां पे ही गए और
अच्छा.
वहां पे किया मेरे हस्बैंड ने और देवर ने.
ओके.
हाँ आज लेकिन अच्छा था आपका लेक्चर, वही सुन रही थी. कोई लोग आए थे इसलिए थोड़ा लेट ज्वाइन किया, लेकिन
नो
अच्छा था लेक्चर, सुन रही थी.
वी प्रेड फॉर द डिपार्टेड सोल. आपने उनकी बहुत सेवा की. श्योरली इट इज अ वेरी नोबल सर्विस दैट यू डिड. यू आर
वो
आल्सो
तो
प्रैक्टिसिंग कॉन्शियसनेस.
तो करवा के लिए उन्होंने हमारे से सेवा, ऐसी बात है.
हाँ, वो that is humble of you to say, but still this is a very difficult seva, and also the highest seva that anybody can do.
ऐसे अभी देखा उस दिन मैंने तो कि जब उनका डेथ हुआ तभी कि जब भी हम लोग मतलब लाइव है तभी सब लोग हम लोग को नाम से बुलाते हैं. मैं उसको होती मम्मी, सासू माँ, ये आजी ऐसे, और जब भी वो गुजर गए तभी हम लोग वही नाम से, लेकिन बाकी सब लोग बॉडी और ये सब करके तो वो तुरंत सब कितना चेंजेस होता है ना.
नाम से भी नहीं बुलाते.
नाम से भी नहीं बुलाते, डायरेक्ट यही तो क्या है. मैं वही अभी कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में आने के बाद में आप जो सब सिखा रही, इतना तो मुझे सब नहीं आता आप लोगों के जैसा, बस जो भी थोड़ा बहुत उसे तो वही देखा कि कुछ भी नहीं है, इतना सब है उसके पास, कुछ नहीं लेके जा रही है. बस जो है हम लोगों ने उसको थोड़ा बहुत सजाया, साड़ी पहना, उसकी ओटी वगैरह हम लोग ने की, नारियल और वो सब, वही लेके वो चली गई. तो कुछ भी नहीं रहता अपने पास सिवाय भगवान के नाम के सिवाय. सो उसको फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस देना चाहिए हमने, बाकी कुछ भी नहीं है लाइफ में. फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस टू चैंटिंग, नथिंग मोर देन दैट. वो तो सीख है पहले से, लेकिन उस दिन लाइव सब देखा, सब रो रहे हैं और सब तभी बहुत मन में लगा के, और सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट उसको इतना पेन हो रहा था, लेकिन एंड जब भी हम लोग मतलब किसी का भी डेथ होने का वो जो टाइम रहता है, वो टाइम पे भगवान का नाम आना बहुत 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 इम्पोर्टेंट है. तो वही जैसे आप बोल रहे हैं हमेशा कि फाइनल एग्जाम है, उसको पास करना है, इसके लिए हम लोग सब अभी तैयारी कर रही है. सो दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट.
Thank you so much, Archana, for coming today and sharing your life experience. Actually, हम तो पढ़ रहे हैं, लेकिन आपने उसको experience भी कर लिया और उसको आपने apply भी कर लिया life में.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी, हरे कृष्णा.
यही है बस. Thank you so much. So, yeah, thank you so much everyone for your time. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Taken a lot of time today. Thank you for sharing. It was so nourishing for me to hear your personal views and your personal experiences. So, thank you for joining today and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam together in the company of all Vaishnavis. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo koti vaishnavan ki. Please forgive any